Hello, Geeks and Gamers. Matt Lemke here with True Gamer Goggles at Origins 2013 Game Fair. We are sitting down with Loren from Shadowrun, from Catalyst Games, and he was recently inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
So tell us about that experience. Or, well, let's even be smart about this and back up. When did you get started gaming?
1939. 1989 in the military. A friend of mine introduced me to some of the RPGs and board games, BattleTech being one of them, D&D, a couple others, and I've been was gaming off and on ever since.
And how long have you been working in the industry?
I got my first job in the industry as a freelancer in 1994 with Mayfair Games and then FASA, writing for some adventures and then writing for BattleTech, and then quickly got my novel career going after that with FASA and BattleTech, and have been working as a freelance writer, designer, off and on the industry ever since.
What'd you do for Mayfair?
Mayfair, I did their Rolaids line. I did Chronomancer, which TSR eventually bought and then republished with me and Matt.
He's tired.
Me. Yes, it's a very long show. Matt Forbeck, thank you. And I are the credits on Chronomancer, and so I worked for the underground campaign and Rolaids for Mayfair.
Okay, and you've obviously done a lot of Shadowrun and a lot of BattleTech stuff.
I've been a fan of Shadowrun. I don't think I actually have one writer credit for Shadowrun.
Really?
They monopolized, Brian Nystel, Randall Bills, Donna Ippolito at FASA, they monopolized me pretty hard for BattleTech. They kept me very busy writing novels and source books. So I've always tried to write Shadowrun. I had a Shadowrun novel contract at one point with FASA, then they changed it and made me write 3 more BattleTech novels really fast to wrap up the BattleTech universe when FASA was closing its doors. So I keep missing my Shadowrun.
That was early 90s, right?
Oh boy, no, it was the late 90s.
90, I thought they closed their doors earlier.
No.
Because of the
90s, 98, 99, 2000, somewhere in that neighborhood.
I got
when
my
they closed the doors. Yeah. So no, I just wrote a whole lot of BattleTech, and I kept getting contracts, then kept getting pulled off of them to go do more BattleTech. So the only Shadowrun credits I have is as a publisher.
Really? Interesting. And now, you say you still freelance. What have you done recently, the last couple of years, while you're working? The
last few years, my freelance work has obviously fell off because Catalyst Game Labs takes up a lot of my time. I've done work for mostly a lot of computer game companies, doing some dialogue scripting work, including for some of the BattleTech apps that are out there. I did some of the dialogue work for the MechWarrior apps, and I've done some really brief work for friends who said, "Hey, I need some help. Can you help me out?" And some of those are uncredited, but I still keep my hand in as a freelancer, but mostly I work as a publisher and a designer, and that's what I do.
And at Catalyst, your job is you're the president, right?
President and owner.
So he saved the company again, sort of, so to speak.
In 2007, when things were not going well at FanPro, WizKids was looking for a new steward for the BattleTech and Shadowrun properties. And I was in you could say right place, wrong time, or wrong place, right time, and suddenly, because I was already a small license holder with WizKids for BattleTech Fiction for the BattleCore website, and Joe Houck was impressed with my knowledge of the universe, with all the licensees, and with my credit list. And one day we were in a meeting, he turned around and said, "Do you want these properties?" And he said, "Can you make money? Can you keep the trouble off my desk?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Congratulations. You're now running BattleTech and Shadowrun."
Wow, that was easy.
It was to get them. How to run them afterwards was hard. We had no infrastructure. We had very little experience from the actual mechanics of publishing, writing, editing, that stuff. Yes, but actually getting books made in a distribution, we had to learn that very, very fast. We had really 2 months before Origins that year, and 4 months before Gen Con, and we managed to get to Origins, show off our first book, get to Gen Con, and actually look like we knew what we were doing, which we spent the next 2 years actually learning what we were doing.
Yeah, You missed one Origins too, didn't you?
Not from 2007, we haven't missed an. I don't think we've missed an Origins or a Gen Con. We miss. We did miss one in there. You're right. We missed an Origins in there in 2009, I believe, 2009 or 10. We did miss one.
Yeah, I kind of thought so because I mean, back then I was still playing BattleTech. Now it's like if I want to play BattleTech, I almost have to drive to Toledo, which is like 3 hours. So
it was BattleTech and Shadowrun they were kind of fading back a little bit. I mean, they've been around for 20, 25 years at that point, or a little less than that. But they were fading back a little bit. They were still out there. They never stopped being published, but people just didn't see them. They had kind of fallen off the radar.
They have that cult following.
They did. They never had, again, and there's been a book published for both lines, one or more books published for both lines every year consistently, I think, for those 20 and 25 years.
Yep. And that's all it took to keep them alive, which is good.
Some years was even more. Like, I mean, FanPro published 5 or 6 BattleTech books.
Oh, yeah, they did a lot. And
yeah, so I mean, people were still getting product out there, but it was just not being seen. It wasn't getting, it wasn't
marketed.
Poor follow through to get it into the stores, getting to shows, showing waving the flag, showing fans it was still there. And so the first 3 years we were in business, the thing we heard the most was, "Oh, it's back." Well, no, it never left. But we just did a great job getting the sight line, getting it back out there in the public sight line.
Right.
And I was fine with people saying, "You brought it back." Well, I guess that's kind of what we did.
Now that I think about it, I kind of remember the whole big thing of Catalyst, and then like your first year here, it was, well, what do they do? It was, what do they do? And it's like,
We tried to make a branding statement right off that we were not going to be off in the corner. We wanted to get attention. We wanted to make sure people knew BattleTech and BattleTech, Shadowrun, and Catalyst. Those 3 names, I wanted them to all be linked together, and we did that very well. I think people saw us right away, and they remembered us.
I think it was a little bit of a rough start, but you had a lot going on behind the scenes that wasn't really public. The rough start wasn't on organizing, the games and stuff, because I seem to remember you had like this big black and green banner that said Catalyst Labs in the Minis Hall. And that was when we still had a Minis Hall.
Yep.
And I seem to remember it was there, and then you had just all these tables, and they were kind of empty. And not body empty, but the stuff that was on them. And now like they're full.
It takes a while. I mean, to start up a game company at that level. I mean, we didn't get the nice level of the growing times that most companies get, where you work your way up and you fill in all the little blanks. We inherited a good-sized company. We had to quickly within a couple of years, come up to speed to make it, to do justice to BattleTech and Shadowrun. We had to basically work very hard.
And let's put this in perspective for everybody. Game companies, a big game company has 10 employees.
At that point, we were probably actually 3 or 4. Well, it was. We did a very good job looking like we were much bigger than we were, and that was intentional.
Every game company does.
Yeah, it's the peacock syndrome. You wave the big tail feathers behind you and say, "Don't pay attention to what we're doing. Just
right.
Enjoy the games." That's what it was about. Was enjoy the games.
You look at a game company, and even Wizards of the Coast. I mean, people look at Wizards. You look at the tournaments they run, and they're like, "Oh man, they got to be so many employees." They don't.
They're pretty big, actually.
Wizards of the Coast is pretty big, but I wouldn't say they have 1,000 employees.
No,
I don't think they have 500.
They might have that, actually. There are departments and production departments. They got a lot of offices.
They do, but I mean, I know, and they're pretty. They're kind of an exception to the rule because they're in cards.
And they have D&D and Magic. I mean, you have 2 of the probably 3 largest properties in the entire industry. So
right.
They break all the rules.
They do, and like I said, that's an exception.
No, a major game company has tens of employees. Maybe a big one. Fancy. I'm guessing Fancy Flight, Steve Jackson. You're talking like 20, 30.
And
max.
That's big.
Yeah,
and then there's like a step. It's like tiers. Then there's like a step down.
Yep.
The next largest is like you're looking at 5 to 10 employees, and then you're looking at 2.
2 guys in the garage. I mean, that's where most companies start.
That's right.
And we missed those years. And I for better or worse, I'm not sure. I think if we would have had some of those early growing pain years, it might have been better for us in the long run. But we're here. We're doing a good job, I think, and Catalyst is.
It's growing, so it's something is going right. You see things like more anthologies coming out for Shadowrun, more stories for BattleTech, and players really enjoy that.
More players every show, every year.
New plot twists. You've got there's like 6 of you in Catalyst, right? And technically a line editor for the fiction.
How many employees?
Yeah.
Oh, no, we've got 12, 14 employees total.
Okay, I know of 6. Yeah. I probably know the important.
Well, there's a few. There you go. I shouldn't say that. You're going to get me in trouble now. There's probably eight or so of us here, and there's another 3 or 4 that didn't make the trip this year to Origin. So
yeah, that's pretty decent sized company.
Yeah, and it is, and again, more players every year, better, more sales of product every year. That's our goal, and right now, this Origins was phenomenal, and we blew through every expectation.
You've had some recent things come out, like Leviathan in the last year is pretty amazing.
Leviathan's is doing very well. In fact, it's been out for a year without a new product release.
It
was here at Origins last year.
Well, I thought the product didn't show up.
We debuted it Saturday.
But I thought some product was not here.
We brought it in. We flew it in Saturday for the show.
Okay, I missed it.
And so we debuted it here at Origins. It's been out for a full year. And it's still just had a great convention. This convention.
Well, it looks great.
It is. It's a beautiful game.
It looks great. And then this year you have the Duke come out, and
the Duke was here, debuted at the show, and then of course the big elephant that's in the room lurking over my shoulder is Shadowrun 5th Edition.
Yes.
That we got in here. We get the preview edition in, and it just completely blew out. It blew out in like a day. We had a few copies.
I wasn't here to see it. So.
We had a few copies left. We held to have Saturday and Sunday morning, but basically it was the single best-selling product we have ever done at any show.
Well, that's good. Because how old is Shadowrun 4th Edition?
What's that?
How old is 4th Ed?
Oh, 7 years.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that old. I was thinking it was...
FanPro debuted roughly about 7 years ago, give or take a few months.
So
maybe we've had it for 5. So it was definitely due. In fact, it was probably a year overdue. But we wanted to do a really great job with it. We didn't want to rush it, and I think we got the game we wanted.
And there's a couple more cool IP things coming out. There's a board game for Shadowrun, right?
Yes.
Shadowrun. But I'm not really sure of all the mechanics in it. So I wasn't going to be sure how encompassing it was. Is it going to be like a minis board game?
The board game will be more along the lines of, say, Lords of Waterdeep or something, where you take a step back from the Shadowrunners and you are controlling Shadowrunners.
So it's like a resource management-esque
or something like that. I'm not going to give away too much on that one yet because we're hoping to do a really good sneak preview here in the not too distant future. But yeah, it's called Hostile Takeover, where you are currently, that's the title, where you are basically trying to. I wouldn't say take over a city, but trying to kind of corner the resources of your local urban sprawl for the big power, to make the big power play.
So it might be more of like, for lack of a better way to say it, gang war, but with corporations.
The gang war game is called Sprawl Gangers. It's actually that's the other of the 3 new big releases after Hostile Takeover. Sprawl Gangers is a miniatures skirmish game where it'll be street gangs battling in alleyways and warehouses and burned out factories. And the first one will have the Halloweeners versus the Immortals, and we'll be releasing other gangs and gangers, and Shadowrunners are in there as well. And Shadowrunners are like kind of the hero figs that a gang might bring in to beef up their side for the big brawl.
Oh, nice.
So Sprawl Gangers will be we've already seen the first draft of the rules. It's awesome, and I think people are going to be really, really happy with that. And then so Hostile Takeover will be different from a gang war. In the way it's going to be more refined as Mr. Johnson likes to be. And then Sprawl Gangers will be out, and then the third one, of course, will be the third property is the one that will release near Gen Con, probably right at or soon after, and that's Crossfire. That's the Shadowrun Shadowrun collaborative deck building game. And it is just one of the best collaborative.
I hadn't heard about that yet.
It's demoing here at the show. You should stop by and take a look at it.
I will.
It's a collaborative game, and what's really unique about it is that you have the ability to gain experience and add skills and gear to your characters in between the games. So your characters in the board game, in the card game, will actually grow over time. And a year from now, you might have a master character like a master mage, and I might be like a new decker, but we can still sit down and play in the same game together. And the missions will adjust for your character's elite status, my character's novice status, and part of your job will be to keep me alive so we can both win. Everybody wins or everybody loses.
That's very nice.
And it flexes brilliantly. It's being designed by Fire Opal Studios. They did a great job. It's going to offer some unique new twists to deck builders.
And there's also going to be, well, maybe it'll be next year, but there's going to be an intro box for BattleTech again soon.
Intro box for BattleTech will probably, should be out sometime in third or fourth quarter. It's going back to print here pretty quick, and that'll be out. And there'll be a new, first time ever, introductory box set for Shadowrun as well.
Yeah, for fifth
edition.
Slated for late July, right?
I believe it's slated for August right now, but we had to take some resources to pour into Shadowrun to make sure we got Shadowrun out this summer. That was critical, and we couldn't finish the introductory box set until we'd finished Shadowrun, the main game.
Well, that's fair.
So so the Shadowrun will start launching in stores in about 30 days. And the introductory box set will be going to print right behind it. So probably 30 to 45 days following that, you'll see the introductory box set hit the market.
Okay. I think that's about right. Yeah. I get Meeple from ACD, so they kind of run together for me.
Yep. So we were hoping to see it. I think we said summer. I believe we listed as a summer product, and it's going to make summer. Might be at the very end of summer, but it's going to make it.
It might have been the August issue that I saw it in. They all run together. I mean, they really do. I'm trying to picture the cover, and I'm trying to picture the day because I'm visual like that.
This is the year of Shadowrun. In the next 12 months, you're going to see big Shadowrun products, a lot of cross promotion, a lot of new material that's never been done before by anybody, not by FASA, not by FanPro. And I think as we have had this renaissance of the Shadowrun property, we are just uniquely poised right now to simply bring the Shadowrun brand to every format we can do it well in.
That kind of brings us to another little bit of news that was actually announced last year at Gen Con. There's a video game coming out.
There's two actually.
I only knew the one.
Shadowrun Returns, being done by Harebrained Schemes, is believed debuting later this month, and Shadowrun Online, which is a browser-based MMO, is debuting sometime later this year, I believe.
I think that's the one I knew
about. Cliffhanger Productions, I think, out of Europe somewhere.
Oh, okay, that's not the one I knew.
But there's two Shadowrun properties coming out. One's turn-based, one's an MMO. They're great properties, being done by people who really enjoy the universe. One, of course, is by Jordan Weissman, who is the creator of the universe. So I think I'm contractually obligated to say, go Harebrained Schemes.
Yes, go Harebrained. Well, I saw the video last year at Gen Con. It's
awesome.
Even a year ago, it was already impressive. Yeah. And I'm not an MMO guy. I get lost.
I'm still a pen and paper guy myself, but I still can spend some time in the electronic world and appreciate it, especially when it's a property I love so much like Shadowrun.
It helps. From somebody who wants to write fiction, it's kind of cool to go in and see, oh, okay, this is really kind of how the creators depict the world. So you can kind of get a harebrained scheme for when you're actually putting it on pen and paper. Yeah. It makes it a little bit easier for that. I think that MMOs kind of lose somewhere they become more of a role and less of a character, and that's where I lose the MMO.
Well, but they're still they bring something new to the table for gaming, and I think that's why they're important. In fact, I should also mention there's two BattleTech online properties coming out right now. I think they're both out right now. One is Mech Warrior. Mech Warrior Tactics and Mech Warrior Online, I believe, are the two titles.
Mech Warrior Online is the one that I've been trying to beta test.
One is live action, trigger shooter, and one is I believe it is more of a turn-based strategic game, and they're both really great properties.
Yes.
And so we don't directly do those, but we try to work and consult with them to make sure the properties are all being treated respectfully and everyone's on the same page. And we're big fans of that work. So. We try to stay involved.
Okay. Well, back to you a little bit, because somehow we got sidetracked and we started talking about
that was intentional,
games.
but I tried that. I tried to do that intentionally, but okay.
Well, what would you say your favorite piece that you've worked on is?
That I've worked on
worked on, created.
Oh, that's tough. I mean, that changes. That changes depending on my mood and what's been going on. I will never forget writing the final trilogy for BattleTech. Being able to wrap up so many of those storylines, as well as but start a few new hooks in case we come back to in the future.
Yeah, writing in the BattleTech world would kind of be epic.
It is. It literally is epic. It was a 25-year story, and I can't think of another science fiction.
You would have to have read all those novels.
I have many times. I have that's a 25-year story. I can't think of any other science fiction story that has run that long. I mean, there's Star Trek and Star Wars are bigger certainly, but 25 years of an epic, ongoing, changing storyline. That's amazing. So writing those 3 books was just a treat. And Mike Stackpole helped me get started on them because that was a big monster for me as a writer. That was really good.
Was that the first one that was done through like the WizKids time frame?
No, those are the last of the FASA books. That was Patriots and Tyrants, Storms of Fate, and Endgame. And then I went on to write MechWarrior books for WizKids and other products. But those 3 are really special for me. As far as source books that I've worked on, either written on or published, SR5 certainly has to rate up there. I mean, it was a monster. I think we tamed it or came close to it, and we turned out a really, really good product. Other than that, it's just hard. I mean, there's so many. Probably, if I had to say which ones I still think of first, it's probably the Draconis Combine Field Manual, which was my very first big source book I wrote ever for anybody. It was a 100,000-word source book, completely written by me. It was my 4th or 5th product ever, and FASA said, "Here, go write this," and I was like, "Okay."
And a little overwhelming. I would imagine.
They like throwing you in the deep end of the pool over there and seeing how well you can do. And fortunately, I learned to swim pretty fast, and that's when I really started turning out. At that point, after that, they started handing me 2 to 3 major source books a year, as well as 1 or 2 novels every year. I became like one of their core writers.
That's a heck of a jumpstart to a career.
It was, and I credit them or blame them, as the case may be, for them and Mike Stackpole for a big part of launching me as a professional freelancer and a professional writer.
I'm going to blame Mike for my fame when I get there.
I like blaming Mike for almost anything I can. But,
he's a good teacher.
He's a great teacher and a fine mentor and an awesome writer.
And when it comes to writing, he's always willing to talk to you.
He is. His advice is distributed freely and liberally, and he's a very fine man. It's been a pleasure to know him. In fact, last night when he was the one to call me up there for the Hall of Fame announcement, that was special because I can't think of someone in this industry I would have wanted to do that more than Mike. So that was really awesome.
I guess that brings me to where I wanted to go with my next question. So now that you have been inducted to the Hall of Fame, how is your life going to change?
Well, obviously it's all downhill from here. I mean, that's it. I've peaked, and I'm now I'm heading.
Maybe they can induct you again.
Can they do that?
I really don't know. I don't know. I don't know enough about it because I've never.
Neither do I. Actually,
I've never gone to any of the award things. I'm too hyper to sit that long.
It was only an hour. Actually, the new awards format's nice. So they get in, they get it done, and
I'm actually the kind of guy though. I could find out that I was nominated, and I probably wouldn't show up. And it's not to be mean to them.
Yeah. No, they didn't tell me I was nominated for that very reason. I think. No, it was an honor to be included in the Gaming Hall of Fame. It was a double honor to get the award from Mike Stackpole himself. And then where do I go from here? I guess I keep doing the things that got me inducted into the Hall of Fame, which is I keep running Catalyst. I keep trying to make BattleTech and Shadowrun stronger titles with better product and more fans. I look for other properties like Leviathans that we can develop and Cosmic Patrol, which are great IPs that we can. I love telling stories in any format. I keep looking for those. And I keep looking for great games like The Duke and Balance of Power, which even though they don't have big IPs behind them, they're just awesome, fun.
The Duke is really good.
It is.
I play it. I'm hooked.
Yeah, me too.
I played it.
I'm a pretty jaded gamer. I mean, 20-some years in the industry, and
I'm hard to please.
Yeah, and I usually, I play a game 6, 7, 8 times. Okay, I got my money's worth. I had fun. Let's see what else is out there. I know I've played over 100 games of the Duke, and I would play it again. We could break it out. I'd play it right now. I'm addicted to it. It's a great.
It's critical.
Yeah,
it's deep.
People really are responding well to it.
I'd like to see a 4-player version.
There is some thoughts about how to do that. It's a tricky one because any 4-player. The problem with any 4-player game is you have to worry about people making overwhelming alliances and
yes.
that. So it has to be a really careful balancing factor. So it's something we will be looking at. But right now, this game is so expandable. We're working on new expansions. We've got great theme packs coming out for it, like the Robert E. Howard Heroes expansion, the Arthurian Legends, Robin Hood, Three Musketeers, that you could use to customize it and play the Duke, as well as I said, the one-on-one, but customize it and play a themed version of the game, which just makes it even more interesting. And then you go back and play the regular version for a while. And then we're looking at, coming up soon, siege engines, which you can add, siege engine tiles. or Vikings. You could do a Viking themed side against Vikings versus Robin Hood, or maybe at some point.
Well, you could do a whole line of historics.
Exactly.
Like you could do Rome versus the Celts.
Yes, you can.
Wow.
We have a master list. We could, if this game gets...
It's super stratego.
If
it's
people
well beyond stratego.
It is. If people respond to this game like we think they will, we could be offering them new tiles and new formats of play for years.
Oh yeah, you could do, imagine what you could do for like the tournament scene as a prize.
We ran our first tournament here. They had 24 hours notice. We had like 8 people show up. They had a blast. It actually went off even funner than we thought it would. And we have a 64-man tournament planned for Gen Con, which we expect to fill up. Yeah, that's going to be...
That'll fill.
We do, and we think that's going to be a great annual tournament both here and at Gen Con every year. So we're looking forward to that.
And well, obviously they can find you where?
For the contacting?
On the internet.
On the internet, you can find us at catalystgamelabs.com. We also have, of course, Shadowrun. I believe it's shadowruntabletop.com and battletech.com. I think I got all 3 of those right. And you can find anything about all of our games and how to contact us and how to find your local distributor, local stores, hopefully on there, and hope you enjoy the products.
And they're pretty easy to find too. If you try and contact them, so
we're not shy. We don't hide.
No, they're not. They're not. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
And I hope you enjoyed the last 2 hours of your show.
Is that it?
It's close. It's getting there. It's got to be getting close to noon. So it's probably closer to 4 hours.
I don't look at my watch today because I just like to be surprised at the end.
That's good. I like that. Thank you, gamers. See you next year or sooner.